We might start now. So, not that I really need to introduce myself. I think everybody who's joined the call knows me. But for just in case, I'm Rick, obviously originally from Permission, but as again, hopefully you all know, we rebranded earlier this year to InsideOut Group. So if you're not, I'm aware of that. Happy to talk to you afterwards. But thank you for joining us this morning. This is our first of what we hope to be many events as part of our educational series, specifically for our clients on different areas of obviously marketing, really with a goal to help create better marketing with and for our clients. And for us, better marketing is a factor of four things. It's about really having a clear strategy of what we're trying to achieve, an understanding of what we're trying to achieve. It's having the right skills, which obviously education is a key part of having the right skills. It's making sure you've got the right processes, and there's a lot of process in SEO to make sure you drive it correctly. And then those three things drive to faultless execution. So everything we're doing internally and part of our rebrand is all trying to refocus on the core principles or core components of better marketing. But as a boutique agency, we rely very heavily on discipline experts or channel-specific experts to help us create a better service for our clients and deliver world-class marketing. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce Raj from Web Eagles to talk us through SEO and the fundamentals, or SEO 101, so we can all be clear on what's the key requirement for SEO. Raj is the founder and owner of Web Eagles, an agency that's been working in SEO and search for over 12 years. So really at the forefront of working with Australian companies on driving results through SEO. And in fact, given Google's continual change of the way search works, both paid and natural search, he's even got an update on the most recent change that we'll talk through later on today. So without further ado, because we're not here to understand me or InsideOut Group, I'd love to hand over to Raj. I'm going to jump off the stage so that Raj can talk you through SEO 101, and then I'll come back at the end of his presentation to moderate and work through questions, etc. I will just mention, hopefully you've seen on the side of your window, there is a chat box. Feel free to put any questions you've got into the chat so that we can deal with them. And if they're very specific to the content that Raj is talking through, we'll take them on the spot. Otherwise, we'll take them on notice so that at the end of it, we'll have a quick Q&A as well. So as I said, without further ado, I'll hand over to Raj and I'll see you later on. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for the kind intro, Rick. And welcome everyone. Really excited to be presenting this topic to you today. It's something I'm really passionate about. As Rick said, I've been running Web Eagles for the last 12 years. And in that time, we've helped countless small to medium businesses, as well as many name brands that you have heard of. So today it's a big topic, but at the very least, the takeaway that I want you to take from today is what SEO is, the impact that it has on your website and your business, and then the benefits of it and why you need to be using it, why it should be part of every marketing strategy. So what is SEO? SEO isn't search engine optimism. That's my joke for the day. Not a very good one. It's search engine optimization. So you actually have to do something. It's the set of strategies and tactics and activities that you would do on your website and off your website that promotes a higher visibility and helps you connect with your customers. This is what we're going to go through today. So what is SEO? Why would you use SEO? The very basics of it, the evolution of SEO, how it came about, and how it evolved over the last decade that I've been around this industry. The latest algorithm update, and we've actually got one fresh off the press that's only recently happened, which we'll talk through right at the end. And then optimizing for Google, and then the common mistakes to avoid. And then finally, I want to talk about content and how important it is to combine SEO with good copy. So SEO is essentially just this. It's the culmination of all the activities, the website experience, content, keyword strategies, website popularity that results in naturally higher organic rankings and customer traffic. So, Google is always making a ranking decision. They're deciding whether you're supposed to be number 10 on their listing page or number 1. And then there's about 200 factors, 200 elements that they're constantly looking at to decide where you belong, whether you should be ahead of your competitors or behind. And so that's what we keep an eye on, and that's what we're constantly working on to improve. SEO versus SEM. So you'd have heard the term SEM. It's a bugbear of mine because SEO stands for search engine optimization, but SEM stands for search engine marketing. And search engine marketing in my books is the broader term that encompasses everything to do with search. But what's happened in the last decade is that SEM's quite commonly been used for the paid ads. So SEM is that pay-per-click. It's the Google ads. It's those ads that you see at the very top. And then SEO is the natural organic listings that you see at the bottom. We can get into great detail around the difference between the two. It's not the purpose of the presentation today, but in short, paid ads are good because they give you immediate results, and SEO is more of a longer term strategy. So why SEO? The majority of website traffic comes from search engines. So if you think about the way you make a buying decision, if you're buying a car or you're buying a house or you're buying furniture, you research, you look companies up, you might look for the services or the products near you, you might search geographically. But really why search is so important is because you're getting to customers at their time of need. So if they've got a problem or there's a product or service that they really need right here, right now, search is there for them. It's a really subtle, really soft way of marketing, but incredibly powerful. And we've worked with, either partnered with or worked with multiple channels from social media to other display ads and what have you. And search always comes up trumps because you're connecting people at their time of need. With SEO, we're looking at those organic listings. Organic results tend to have a bit more inferred credibility. People are more likely to click on those natural organic listings, and it's not anecdotal. We've actually tested this, and because we've run Google AdWords campaigns and we've run SEO campaigns, I can tell you that you will get about 80 to 85% of people that are searching for a particular topic will click on the natural listings at the bottom there, and only about 10 to 15 tend to click on the paid ads at the top. And I'm talking from actual empirical data from campaigns that we've run. Search engine traffic has a higher likelihood of converting to sales. Again, this isn't just anecdotal. We track all the conversions that come through Rick's websites, and we can always see where most of the conversions are coming from. Social media tends to be amazing for brand engagement, but for lead generation, search engines tend to be the best. SEO is also cost effective. So whether you're doing it yourself or you've got an agency like us managing it for you, the cost is constant or none if you're doing it yourself, but the results grow exponentially. So then your return on investment, the longer you do it, your return on investment comes back, multifold. We've got some campaigns that are 7 to 10 times ROI. So it is really effective. Why we always recommend SEO as an important component of any marketing strategy is that SEO is it has long-term effects. So if you worked on the SEO, if you optimized your website and you worked on it for the next 12 months, in 12 months' time, your website is going to be 12 months bigger, 12 months ahead of when you first started. However, if you ran a paid ad campaign for the next 12 months, if you turned off the ads after 12 months, you're back to square one. Whereas with SEO, if you push the rankings for as many different topics and products and services and keywords that your customers are searching for, and you build up that organic presence, then at the end of the 12 months, if let's say you stopped or you paused your SEO activity or investment, then you're not going to drop off the face of the earth. You might erode a little bit if competition increases, but it holds its own, and you'll continue to get leads afterwards. So what are the two pillars of SEO? Essentially with SEO, optimizing your website for a particular topic, you have to first be relevant. So for example, webeagles.com.au is not going to show up for podiatrist Sydney unless we talk about it. So you have to first be relevant to that particular topic. So you need to talk about it. You need to have specific landing pages for each of the niches. So just because you're an accountant, you can't expect to rank for tax accountant Sydney if you don't actually talk about it. So part of the work that we do is that we identify what your products and services are, what you want to be known for, what are those the topics that you really want to get out there and really be known. And then we make sure that that content is on the website. So you first need to be relevant. And then the second pillar is prominence. Well, now what prominence means is developing an authority on that topic. So having a single landing page talking about that topic in this day and age isn't enough. So you need to have a content strategy. You need to have a content calendar of articles that you're going to write for the next 3 to 6 months about that topic and about all the topics that you want to be known for. So you need to develop an authority in that area for you to become prominent. And then part of that prominence as well is having other people talk about you. And this is the powerful component of SEO that we do quite well, is that content that you write for the website, you should repurpose it. So rewrite it a couple more times so that it's unique, and then post it on external article directories, on publications. So there's nothing more powerful than when the credibility and authority of another website gets inferred onto you. So the analogy that I can give to you there is, you guys have obviously been working with Rick for a while. You trust him. He's got a high authority with you and high credibility. You don't know me yet, but he's just introduced me and he's vouched for me. So his authority and his credibility is inferred onto me. So I have your trust until I break it. So that's the same thing with websites. When you have other trusted websites talking about you and linking back to your website with good quality content relevant to the topic that you want to be known for, that's how you start building up that trust. It's one of the components. Like I said before, there's about 200 factors for Google deciding where you should be ranked. So the basics, firstly, keywords. So you might have heard the term keywords in sort of the search world. If you haven't, that's okay. Really, all it is it's the language that your customers are using. Okay, so that's what they're typing into Google. And so the biggest mistake we make as business owners and business leaders is that we use our language, we use our jargon, we use our industry terms. And so you often have a disconnect between you and your customers. And so this exercise that we put our customers through is we force them to think about how their customers are searching for their products and services rather than what they call their products and services. And so by taking a deep understanding into what your customers are searching for, the way they're typing those words into Google, it maximizes your chance of resonating with them and connecting with them. So find those right customers, those right keywords that your customers are searching for. Now, the keywords, unlike social media. So in social media, you can really build a demographic. So you can say, I want people between the age of 20 and 35 that are interested in this particular topic in this particular area. Search doesn't work that way. Search works on intent. So it's the intention behind the keyword. So depending on how they're searching, so the kind of keywords that they're typing in will tell you how early they are in the buying cycle. So for example, using that tax accountant example, if I searched for, so if you look on the left side of that scale, so it's sort of the researching stage, they're called long tail keywords. So here I've got a family lawyer example, but let's use the tax accountant example. Someone might type, when do I engage a tax accountant? Or when do I need a tax accountant? That's called a long tail keyword. It's a very specific topic that they're typing in, and it implies that they're early and they're researching. So those keywords are important because it gets your brand out in front of them before they've got to the point of making a buying decision. And then the buying stage is when they start searching for transactional keywords like family lawyer Sydney, like tax accountant Sydney, tax accountant Sydney CBD. You know, when they're searching for that particular word, that they're at the right place at the right time, looking for a supplier, looking to engage someone. Both of those keywords, there's not one keyword that's better than the other. Both those type of keywords are important. So what we've done today is, as part of our service, we do the keyword research and we've got the expertise to be able to analyze that data. But I'm going to give you a minute. If you've got your phone, scan one of these QR codes. And essentially what these will do is they're tools that you can use to search for the keywords that your customers are searching for. They're incredibly helpful. All of them are tied back to the Google keyword tool. So they get their data from Google, the Google trending data, but they just organize it in different ways. We love SEMrush because SEMrush really organizes the keywords nicely and gives you all the different variations in the search volume, but pick one that you like. The second component of SEO is landing pages. So once you've got your keywords, once you've picked the keywords that you're going to be writing about, start writing dedicated pages for those keywords. So our advice is don't put any more than 1 to 2 keywords per page. So in the early days when we started SEO, people were stuffing keywords all into the one page. It doesn't work anymore. There's a principle that Google follows where they map. It's called URL to keyword mapping. So the keywords are mapped to different parts of the site. So if you look at a website, it should be hierarchical. So your home page should be the broadest representation of your business. So if you're an accountant, it would be Accountant Sydney. And if you're an accountant and you've got different specializations like compliance, tax accounting, outsource CFO, whatever those services are that you do, each of those pages, each of those dedicated landing pages should have no more than 1 to 2 keywords per page. And if you do that, then you've got the best chance of actually being found for those keywords. When we talk about optimizing, when you're optimizing a website or optimizing a page, it means putting the keywords in the right places on that page. From the meta tags to the heading to the first paragraph, you've got to put in the first paragraph, and 1 to 2% keyword density. So that means 1 to 2% of all of the copy that's on that page should be your target keywords. And by doing that, you give yourself the best chance possible of being found. And so a landing page, to explain what that term means, you may have heard it before, but a landing page is literally just that. It's a page that a customer or a user lands on your website. It's their point of entry into your website. So your homepage could be a landing page, or one of these deeper pages that talks about a specific topic can be a landing page. Our philosophy is that you should serve up what your customer searched for. So if they're searching for a specific topic, don't send them to the homepage and expect them to navigate and find doesn't matter how easy. I mean, Rick builds amazing websites with beautiful UX, and it's really easy to navigate around the website. But even with the best websites, send them to the page that they ask for. They won't drop off. So there's a great drop off rate if you don't send them to that right page. But conversely, you'll get better engagement and better conversions if they do land on the page that they ask for. And then furthermore to content, this is what we were talking about with prominence, being prominent for a topic. Build a calendar of articles of different topics that you think would be hot button topics that are related to the keywords that you were trying to rank for, trying to be found for. Now, backlinks. Again, more on the prominence pillar. Backlinks are just that. They're links back from another website, an external website, back to your website. And that could be back to your homepage, or it could be to a deeper page on the website. Building these links in the context of good copy, so good content that's relevant to the topics that you're trying to be found for, and coming back from really high authority websites that Google trusts, sends all the right signals to Google. It's almost like if you're standing up in front of an auditorium of 500 people, you start talking about a particular topic, that's your relevance. People are listening to you and they're going, okay, this person knows what they're talking about with this particular topic. When someone in the audience taps someone else on the shoulder and goes, that person really knows what they're talking about, they helped me last year, blah, blah, blah. There's that inferred trust that they're passing on, that inferred credibility. It's the same thing with websites. If they're referring back to you, linking back to you in the right way, then they pass on that trust, and then Google sees that. So with backlinks, you might, it's a funny term, it's a jargon term. What does it actually mean? Where do they come from? You could put them in business directories, so Yelp, Foursquare, Start Local, True Local, Yellow Pages, White Pages, etc. So those directories, so local directories, business directories, they're important for local search. So if you're a bricks and mortar business that wants to be found locally in a particular region or a particular city or suburb, those directory listings are incredibly important because you're creating citations back to the business. You're citing the address, the phone number, contact details, the website address, and by doing that, you actually help your website and your listing move up in the maps. So if you want to be found on the Google Maps, the directories are incredibly important. Social bookmarking sites. So the way I can explain that is with your browser, if you bookmark a site, there's actually websites where you can bookmark other websites, and they're good for us to just link back from really high authority websites. And then there's article directories are an important part of our strategies as well, because the content that we write for our clients' websites, we repurpose them and then we post them on external article directories in the right category, and then we link them back to our clients' website, because it becomes all about content. And then you've got document sharing, image sharing, video directories, etc., etc. There's a plethora of different types of sites that you can create a listing back to your site from. History of SEO. So 1991, SEO was essentially born. Yahoo was huge in the 90s. They absolutely dominated. If you remember, if you're of the generation of mine and Rick's, you would remember Yahoo, Alta Vista, and then Google was created in 96, and it's quite funny. That's the balls on them and the how bold that they were. They came into a market where there were major search engines already dominating, and they said, you know what, we can do it better, and they did. They made it really simple. Really, the whole purpose of the Google screen is that they just want to pass you straight away onto something else. whereas Yahoo really focused on, oh, we want to be a news site and a directory and everything, whereas Google just wanted to run fast, be quick, be efficient, just tick and flick, pass you onto a page for the content that you asked for. And then people started taking advantage and they abused the system. And so Google started updating their algorithms, back from the early 2000s onwards, to get on top of these things that people were doing. Things like Hummingbird. Hummingbird algorithm in 2013 was super important because if you're a small business owner back then, you couldn't rank for really competitive keywords. But so what Hummingbird did was it made it more important that you rank for long tail keywords. So you could get into the market by just focusing on more specific keywords. Penguin algorithm came along. Penguin was more around the backlinks. People were abusing that. And they were over optimizing and having too many backlinks from the wrong places. There's so much that's happened in the last 20 years. The latest, and now this has actually been superseded, but this was the last really big algorithm that was released. That was in 2021, last year. And there's a smaller one, but still a very important one that's just been released, which I'll talk to right at the end. But 2021, they released the page experience update. So the page experience update basically looks at the website and it's core vitals. So they're vital metrics. So SEO isn't just about keywords. It's not just about content. It's also about the website. So you absolutely need an agency like InsideOut Group, because these guys know what they're doing and how to build websites that are built for search, that are built for the users. Because if you're presenting a poor experience for your customers, then that will affect your rankings. That'll affect your visibility within Google. So one of the important factors is website load time. So how quickly does your web page load? And there's a lot to it than just that. It's not just how quickly does the entire page load. That's called total load time. But there's things like time for the biggest digital asset to open up. So for example, if you've got a slideshow at the top, how long does it take for that to open up? What's the time for first interaction? So how long does it take before users can start interacting with the page and engaging with the page? So there's all these sub metrics within that load time metric that you'd need to look at. And if your website is loading slowly, both on desktop and mobile, then that can affect your ability to be found in Google, because Google will just penalize you. Conversely, they'll reward you if you're presenting an amazing experience for your customers. Interactivity. So there's a metric called CLS, which it's basically the shifting of the page. So if you've often landed on news sites and where there's a lot of images, and you've come to click on a link and then it shifts and then you end up clicking on another link, that's an unstable page. They haven't designed it in the right way so that images can load synchronously. And so by doing that, by having a low metric there, you're sending the signal to Google that I don't have a very stable page or a stable website. That's the visual stability and interactivity. So all of these you really need to think about. They're all things that we look for if we start working with someone. They're the very first things that we do as part of our audits. We feed all of these recommendations to Rick and his team, and then they update the website to make sure that that's right. Oftentimes, businesses work with SEO agencies for years and they don't get the right results and they don't know why. And sometimes it's a very simple technical element within the website that they missed. So the website experience factors include mobile friendliness. So in 2019, Google launched their mobile first indexing. So the indexing that you're seeing, so the rankings that you're seeing within Google, the listings, it's based on Google assessing the mobile version of your website first. So if you've got a very poor experience, on mobile for your users, then that could affect your desktop rankings as well. So you've got to keep that in mind. And remember with mobiles as well, if you're building for mobiles, the device has a much smaller CPU than a desktop or a laptop, and so you need to build the website differently to adjust and respond to that particular device. A page speed, which we've spoken about, how quickly does the website, the page load and allows you to interact with them. Secure web. So a while ago, about a couple of years ago, Google started moving to a secure web. So they've started giving preference to websites that have the HTTPS at the top. So having an SSL certificate on there. And so that's becoming really important. They basically want to protect their users from malware and from their data being hacked. And so that's going to be important. If you don't have an SSL certificate on your website, make sure that you do. If you've got malware on your website, Google will actually flag it within the results page. So you've got to keep an eye on that. Always be looking at your brand and how it's seen in Google, because if you're not proactive and you're not constantly looking at it, then your customers are the ones that are going to pick it up, and you could lose business because they think that you've got a site full of viruses and malware. And then finally, good user experience. So have clear navigation, make sure that the information, it's called the information architecture of the website. It's basically the sitemap of all your services and your products and everything that you want to be known for is laid out really nicely and easy to find. So that's really important. And I know that's one of the very first steps that Rick goes through when he's designing a new website. The next one is Google My Business. So going a little bit off topic than just basic SEO and SEO for websites. Google My Business, which has just been retired, so it's moved to Google Maps, Google Search and Maps. So what this was for years, and it's just now presented in a different way. So you can now, once you're logged in, you can access your Google Maps listing directly inside the Google page. But that's so important for your business, because if you're a local business with a local address, with trading hours, with potentially reviews, then the Google Maps listing, the Google My Business, allows you to create this nice profile that when people are looking you up, they're going, okay, this is a really good trusted business. Because reviews is an example. If you're not proactive with your reviews, then what happens is that if there is one customer that you couldn't please, or a competitor decided to be malicious and they leave you a 1-star review and you don't have any reviews, you haven't taken a proactive stance on this, then you've got a brand on Google with a 1-star review. And you look like a 1-star business when it could have been just that one person that's done that. So if you're proactive, make it part of your sales process to be asking for reviews from your customers and build it up. It doesn't matter if they're 4 stars or 3 stars or 5 stars, as long as over time the average is high, it's 4 point something, or above 4.2, then you're seen as a trusted business. It actually looks more organic if you're a 4.8 instead of 5 stars. It enhances SEO. It actually does help. So if you're wanting to be found on the Google Maps, the more reviews that you have, the more of a trusted merchant that you're seen by Google. It increases engagement. Lost count the amount of clients that we've worked with or are working with that get business just from their Google reviews. People call them up and they'll say, I saw your reviews. You're an amazing, we've got a tailor in the Sydney CBD. He gets a lot of work just from those reviews. We've got a dentist in Roselle who gets a lot of work and a lot of clientele and patients because of the 100+ reviews that they've got. And you can use the Google Maps listing as almost like a social media platform. So you can actually create posts directly on there. So if you've written an article for the website, you can have a short post on there. And it just makes your profile look really good if people are looking you up. So common mistakes to avoid. If you don't set a clear goal for your SEO, then you're not going to achieve much. If you've got to know what success means for you. Like, is it driving phone calls? Is it driving contact form submissions or booking forms, or whatever the engagement is, whatever the call to action? Have that as a clear goal. Have a goal around how many impressions you want to get, how many clicks to the website you want to grow to. If you're clear on that and you feed that back to your agency, or even for yourself, if you're doing it yourself, then that puts you on the right path and you know what you're aiming for. Search intent, we've talked about before, is incredibly important. Really, you've got to put yourself in the customer's shoes. If they've typed a particular keyword, what did they mean? Like, what did they intend to do? Do they have a buyer intent? Do they have a research intent? And then understand that, and making sure that when you've picked a particular keyword, where you put it on the website matters, and it affects your SEO campaign. So if it's a research intent keyword, you put it against the blog. But if it's a buyer intent keyword, you put it against a landing page, a page where you really lay out your value proposition. Always keep your user experience in mind. If it's a poor experience, like if there's broken links, or they go to pages that go nowhere, or certain buttons that are expected to be clicked don't click, there's so many aspects to UX that you've really got to keep in mind. Again, you don't need to look at it from a technical lens. Look at it from your perspective as a layperson. Am I presenting the best experience for my customers? If it really annoys you when something happens on your website, get it fixed, because that's going to help your customers as well interact with you better. It's a very fickle market, and people will drop off a website if they've got a really bad experience. And then finally, by not analyzing your results, you might be doing the wrong thing, and you keep on going down that path. But really use your results to get some actionable insights into how your campaign is going and what you need to adjust to do better. Now, analyzing and adapting. So analyzing these results and adapting. What does that mean? So these are some of the tools that we use. So Google Analytics, you would have heard of. That's probably the most popular and most commonly used platform. So Google Analytics is the platform that you would use to analyze the user behavior on your website. So we put Rick would put a bit of code into your website, and then by putting that code in there, then that allows us to analyze where people have come from, what pages they're clicking on, how they're interacting, time on site, bounce rate, all sorts of metrics on the website. Next one is Google Search Console. This one is incredibly important for understanding what your brand looks like in Google before they've come through to your website, before the users have come through to your website. So things like what keywords you're being found for, what position in Google you are for those keywords, the visibility, so the impressions, how many people are seeing your listing before clicking through. So Search Console should be part of your reporting mix. Google Tag Manager is important for tracking events. So things like people calling you, clicking on the number, submitting a form. You can create a whole bunch of events that you can track, and those events are what a part of those success metrics that you define at the start. So if you really want people to fill out your contact form because they're really good leads for you, then you need to track that, and you need to go, okay, I can see my traffic's going up, and I can also see my contact form submissions coming through. And then there's others depending on what else you're doing. So if you're doing paid advertising, Google AdWords, there's that platform, social media. So Meta Business for Instagram and Facebook. You should be analyzing and understanding the engagement within socials. Email marketing, so things like MailChimp, Aweber, Campaign Monitor, they've all got dashboards that you can look at and understand, things like open rate, click-through rate, etc. So we've got our own digital dashboard. So essentially our digital dashboard combines all the live metrics from a lot of the Google platforms, as well as social media and email marketing platforms. It's so important to really understand, no matter how you do it, whether you use our dashboard or whether you do it yourself and you build on those particular platforms, the dashboards from those platforms. really take time to understand the metrics. You know, if there's a high bounce rate, why is that? Is my website not set up properly and people are bouncing off because they're not finding what they're looking for? You know, is time on site too low? Am I not creating enough engaging content? So reporting becomes, I would argue, reporting is the most important component out of any campaign that you do. So that's what our dashboard looks like. We have specific metrics that you want to track, you know, from the traffic all the way down to specific engagements. We've got clients where we're tracking the revenue that's been generated out of their website. That's a monthly figure, by the way. And so, look, what we're going to do, I really appreciate all your time. I hope you got something out of today. The guys are going to send out a link to you for a free website audit. So we'll, if you submit a request, we'll build a report for you and take an initial look at your website and the improvements that can be drawn from there. And then we'll come back to you with that detailed report. Rick?
Thanks, Raj. Appreciate it. I just want to point out, Raj presented me as a UX expert that does great architecture, a design expert, and a coding and development expert. I couldn't do any of those. In fact, I don't do any of those without my team. So it's not just me, but thank you, Raj, for giving me so many different jobs in my company. I appreciate that. Look, I do want to just say thank you as well to everybody in Raj to follow up, and specifically to Raj for joining today. There is so much jargon in digital marketing or in marketing in general, and I think, as we already heard today, SEO, there are hundreds of terms, so it's really good, and even me, and I'm sure that a few of my team members who are on the call learned a lot through today. I really appreciate that. I thought the tools you provided early on in the presentation were really valuable, and I appreciate you presenting them so that people can get access to those specific tools. I also found the advice on creating content. Everybody says create content for your website, but I didn't know that it was really only 1 or 2 keywords per page, and that density percentage is a really key factor and important. So again, thank you for sharing that. And the backlinks is another one that we hear lots of, and from my understanding, backlinks is one of those areas that SEO used to be key. In fact, we've all had a million spams saying we can get you hundreds of backlinks, etc. So although we've got a handful of questions from the audience, I actually wanted to start with I have 2, so I'm going to take the pleasure of being one of the hosts to ask my 2 questions. I'll start with backlinks. And you talked about all the different services there, but are there more valuable, less valuable backlinks? Or, I mean, is any backlink good? Or should we be is it better to go for specific backlinks if you're building your own backlinks?
When it comes to backlinks, if you take a content first approach, you'll always win. So relevant backlinks are a lot more powerful than any backlink. Like Rick said, there's companies out there that sell backlinks by the hundreds. So if you might look at today and go, backlinks are important, and then you get one of these overseas agencies sending you an email to say buy 100 backlinks for $20, you could actually hurt your website. So you've got to be really careful with where you get these backlinks from, where you create them from. Something as simple as if you've got a brand partner within your industry, they do something complementary to what you do. If they create a page on their website for you and they link back to you as one of their trusted partners, that's great. If you're on an article directory and you've posted in the right category an article related to what you do, and you've put the backlink inside that article in the right context, that's powerful. So not every backlink is built the same. In fact, there's really high authority backlinks. So sites like educational websites, so .edu.au, or government websites, .gov.au, or charity websites, .org.au, they're the 3 most trusted high authority sites to link back from. So if you're doing any government work, if you're, you're doing, we had a client, Coleman Gregg was our client for 6 years. They're a law firm in Parramatta. They used to do a charity fund run as part of with New South Wales Health. And so New South Wales Health would talk about them on their website. And so that was amazing for our SEO campaign, because it really passed on a lot of really high authority. So in short, not every backlink is built the same. And relevance in the context of these backlinks is more important than anything else.
Cool. Thank you for that. Looking at the attendees, I know a couple of the clients that are on this call are at the very start of their journey or thinking about updating their website. Could you just talk a little bit about when preparing to kick off a new website project, either for a brand new website or more specifically for a transitioning, updating your website, what are some of the key SEO steps you should do prior to going live with a new website, so you can prepare for it? And then when you go live, how do you make sure you don't lose all of the I think the term is equity, all the value that Google sees in your current SEO scoring? When you go to a new website, how do you make sure you don't lose those?
Yep. So as I alluded to at the start of the presentation, really take time to understand your market. So understand what your customers are searching for. I think that's the most important step in that initial, getting search ready, getting the website search ready, as we call it in our world. Get those keywords right. Find the right words that your customers are searching for that align to your products and services. So get that understanding first, and then write content specifically for those. Write it in the right way that's written for users rather than the search engines. Don't try to game the system, but actually build it so it's readable, because there's no point driving people to your page if they're going to drop off. So those two steps initially are probably the most important. With Rick's team, get them to understand anything that's wrong with the website that needs to be improved. So if you're redesigning the website, you're going to a new website, if there are certain things that could be improved on the current website, you don't want to take them across with you. So for example, load time, if the website isn't loading quickly, it could be the theme of the website. It could be just the actual underlying structure. So it could be that when you move to the new website, you pick a different theme, a lighter theme, and a lighter back end. And then in terms of, maintaining your brand equity, if you're being found for things now, if there are pages on the website that are actually driving traffic organically, you need to understand that first. So Rick and the team, and we can help him behind the scenes to make sure you don't lose that. We can build a report of all of the pages in the last 2 years that have ever driven traffic to your website and to your business. And then what we can do is we can make sure that when we move from the old website to the new website, you maintain the addressing scheme. So for example, if you've got, let's say the tax accountant thing, if you're .com.au/services/tax accountant, and then in the new website, you change it to /service, and you lose the S on the end, /tax accountant, you've fundamentally changed the URL. You've fundamentally changed the address. And so in Google's world, that will be seen as a broken link, and you could lose the traffic. So sometimes a change is necessary because the new website comes with a different structure. But you've got to be proactive about it. You've got to know that that's going to happen, and then just making sure that you manage that process so you don't lose anything.
Thanks, Raj. And I will just point out that last point, even just a small change of letter or adding an underscore or just any change that you make to the page structure of when you migrate to a new website is a key point where you can lose all of your SEO credibility. So it's really critical that you work through that phase as well. We have had a couple of other questions. Hopefully we've got a couple more minutes before we finish up today. One of the questions that we've had from the audience is what's the role of, and you've talked a little bit about it, but specifically in the context of some of the new changes, the role or the importance of content on your website and how that impacts a person finding your website?
Content is one of the most important things that you'll ever do in an SEO campaign. Obviously, I've seen the full gamut of different types of SEO strategies over the years, over the last 12 years. There's a lot of agencies out there that were backlink only, but that we take a very balanced approach to backlinks and content. Content is everything. Content is king, as what you may have heard previously. The right content connects with the right people. So if you write your content in the right way with the right keywords, it will connect with people that are searching for you at their time of need. And if you write it in the right way with a nice value proposition and good calls to action and being really helpful, then that could really be the difference between you actually getting someone to contact you or not. Hot off the press, so this is what I was talking to before. Google has just released another algorithm update, and it's called the helpful content algorithm. So essentially what that means is if your content is not helpful for the user, you will lose rankings and you will lose that traffic. So what I mean by that is if, for example, you wrote for the search engine, not the user, and you tried to stuff as many of the keywords in there as possible and it sounded spammy, then that could actually hurt you. So make sure you're always writing for the users. And like I said before, the balance of content is really important in that you should write content for people that are at the right time, right place, looking for a supplier. But then you should also be helpful in the sense that your articles should be informing and advising and adding value, and those will actually help you because they now look at your website as a whole. They don't look at specific landing pages. They look at your website as a whole. So if there's parts of your website that are not helpful that you've put in, for example, you might have 5 offices with the 5 of the same service. So then you might go, I'm just going to copy this page 5 times. So those duplicated pages could actually be hurting the rest of your website. So you need to make sure every page on your website and the content that's on it is helpful for your users, and that'll help you.
Excellent. Thanks for the explanation, Raj. One final question, and as many of you probably know, I've been in marketing and digital marketing specifically for over 20 years, and this is probably one of the most common SEO questions that we receive, especially given the long tail sometimes associated with using SEO as a strategy, is how long should a business expect it will take to generate a return from SEO, or before they'll start to see impact on traffic to their website and therefore business to them through SEO related activities?
So the longer the longer you do it, the better. So the longer you do it, the more dominant you become and the bigger your return. But essentially, for you to see an impact, you'd be looking at 3 to 6 months. Because remember, SEO is a long-term marketing strategy. It's one that you're building up gradually. The beauty of it is that you're not getting an influx of leads right away. So it allows you to grow your business with it. So as it grows, you grow with it. But you should be seeing an improvement month in, month out. But 6-month mark, that's our magic point where you start really seeing a return and you start going, oh, wow, this is actually working. We need to keep on doing this. We had one client, as a really quick case study a while ago, they went and spent $30K on a radio ad on 2GB. It did nothing for them. So this is a car parts company. And then they came back several years later after they'd gotten over that pain, and they said, okay, Raj, can we talk about search? And 12 months in, they're now seeing a 7-time, this is the 7X, 7-time return on their monthly investment. So it can work really well for a lot of businesses.
Wow, what a great case study to end it. So I'll just, again, first of all, thank the people that have joined us today. We really appreciate your support as a client, an ongoing client, and your commitment and time this morning. We appreciate that everybody's time is short. We hope that this was a valuable step into helping you and us educate on some of the components of specifically SEO today, but digital marketing and our drive to bring better marketing to SME businesses in Australia. I'd like to thank just Raj, because obviously he did all the hard work. I got the glory of being able to do the intro and the outros. So thank you, Raj, for your help in today. And you already work with us on a number of clients, and we hope to see you working on many more. And just one final plug, as Raj mentioned earlier, we will send a follow-up email. If not today, it will be on Monday. That'll have a link to the video of today's session, so you can watch it again, watch it on double time if you want to save some time. It'll also have a link to download the presentation, so feel free to use it and share it with other team members and colleagues to help them understand the role of SEO. And finally, it will also have a link to, or instructions on how to take up Raj's offer of a free web audit. And as I said, if you're one of the clients that are in the near future looking at how to improve your website and you wanted to get an understanding of how ready you are to do that and what needs to happen, that audit is a great place to kick off that journey. So once again, it's now hard on 10:30. So thank you for your time this morning. Have a great weekend and look forward to seeing you at our next session. Thanks all.
Thanks, guys.